The story of Dullahan the Headless Horseman. The Headless Horseman, or Dark Knight, is the embodiment of darkness, one of the most terrifying ghosts in Celtic mythology. He only appears out of sight, and on special Irish festivals and holidays. Once the Headless Horseman Dullahan's hooves stop, someone in that place will have to leave the world. Dullahan is the omen of death. It can also be said that this character is a death god. Some people think that he is a dead man, accumulated resentment, unable to escape, but keeps wandering around the world, harming people. Some people also say that the Headless Horseman Dullahan is the incarnation of the god Crom Dubh, who was loyally worshipped by the Irish king Tigermas. Legend has it that the Headless Horseman Dullahan is described as a man wandering around country on a headless black horse. Or if there is a head, it will be one with glowing eyes and a body 6 meters or more long, and the head is held in your hand. Sometimes, a headless horseman rides on a chariot with 6 horses. The vehicle's moving speed was so fast that the carriage's wheels rubbed against the road, creating 2 bright streaks of fire and causing the trees on both sides of the road to burn. Dullahan was a tall man, always dressed in black. His hands don't need to hold the reins. He uses his head as a lamp to light the way. By holding that lantern high, he can see everything from a great distance, even on the darkest nights. His eyes move back and forth continuously to find new victims, while his mouth always shows a ghostly smile. In the other hand, he holds a horsewhip made from a human spine. Wherever Dullahan stopped walking, someone was sure to die in the very spot where he was standing. On the night Dullahan appeared, no one dared to step out on the street because they were afraid they would see him. Nothing can stop him, all doors and locks automatically open when he approaches. If you hear a Dullahan calling your name, you will surely die within a few days. He doesn't like anyone seeing him, and if he finds out you're watching him, the Dullahan will blind you by using his own whip to gouge out your eyes. In some legends, Dullahan's horse also has no head and pulls a 4-wheeled cart carrying a coffin, along with many skulls and candles. Those who saw Dullahan were beaten in the eyes with a whip or had a pot of concentrated blood placed on them as a way for him to mark his victims. However, Dullahan's weakness is that he is afraid of gold. The Dullahan will disappear if you throw a few gold coins at his feet. Many people think that Dullahan is blind. On the contrary, he is a man with extremely good eyesight. Every time he smells the smell of death, he will raise his head, open his eyes wide and shine into each house from thousands of kilometers away, even in the darkest places. When he encounters ordinary people on the street, he always made people extremely afraid with his straight, unblinking gaze and the smile of a superior. On his loyal black horse, once he discovered a dying person in the houses across the country, Dullahan will speed up the black horse. The most terrifying thing and also the invincible power of the Headless Horseman Dullahan is that, when the horse's hooves stop, the Dullahan will shout out a person's name and drain their life force. Sometimes, when he encounters someone wandering on the street, that is also the last moment that person still sees heaven and earth. Because, in just a short time, the Headless Horseman will drain that person's life force again. For that reason, the Irish often tell each other that, in order to avoid encountering the messenger of death, Dullahan on these occasions, During festivals, especially from late August to early September when the Crom Dubh festival takes place, people should not go out late in the evening or at night. Or if you see a Dullahan, throw it at him. Objects made of gold or gold dust. A man who roamed across the country, who gave death everywhere, had a terrible fear of gold. Legend has it, there was a man riding his horse home in the village of Roundstone, when suddenly, the surroundings became darker. Then that person heard the sound of a horse howling throughout the sky behind him. This was a scary black horse. Wherever the horse stopped, people died. Painting of the Clash of Civilians with the Headless Horseman Dullahan by artist John Quidor, painted in 1858. Only having time to scream in terror, the man ran as fast as he could toward the house with the lights on in front. However, it felt like time was condensed. His running became heavy. At this moment, he took out a gold coin from his pocket and threw it towards the headless knight. A roar rang out. When that person turned around, everything was gone. The headless knight and his horse were gone, as if they had never been there. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.